welcome back to Thanks for Sharing with your hosts, David O.
Eric V.
And Allie B.
Tonight we are, how's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? Allie's in a weird state. Eric's tired. I've had a week. I've had a few weeks. It's been a lot. So I'm just gonna get it started.
Go ahead. Yeah, you should start.
I should
Yeah,
start. Okay.
tell me about your week, David. What's going on?
Well, I don't know if I've been able to share this on Thanks for Sharing yet. My mom had a stroke a few weeks ago, and I've been dealing with that. So she was in the I had to drop her off at the hospital, and because of COVID, I couldn't stay. I haven't been able to see her since I've seen her once or twice through a window because after she was in the hospital for like 8 days, they moved her to like a physical rehab place for another couple weeks, and I got to visit her a couple times there, but I had to be outside the building and just look through the window and talk to her on the phone. So yeah, that was like 3 weeks ago. And on top of that, the week prior, I had quit my previous job. And then my mom had a stroke, so I had to push the start date for my new job back to this Monday. And that's been a headache especially because COVID's really complicated the whole medical industry because I can't see a doctor in person. And with the way her care has been and like her diagnosis and everything, she's going to need to go ultimately into some sort of assisted living because none of my sisters or I have the capability to care for her. So I've been talking with adult social services every day. I've been talking to her case managers at the hospital and then the rehab center. I've been talking to nurses and doctors and all sorts of stuff every day. And it's been a lot. And then like right when things were like, okay, these are like the steps that are in motion. I started my first day of work on Monday, and then midway through the day, I found out that one of my very dear friends in recovery, Victoria Brady, died of an overdose. And like that hit really hard. Like I love Victoria so much. She was just a kindred spirit, and like I was taking her to class up at the local community college like 2 or 3 times a week. I was driving her to work for like a good 2.5 years of my recovery and her recovery, and then she slowly fell off. And I had talked to her only like 2 or 3 weeks ago on like Facebook Messenger. She was in a dark place, and like I listened and empathized as much as I possibly could. I was like, I'm always here for you if you ever need me. And she recently graduated with her degree in special education for elementary school kids. So like she was doing some right things, but yeah, just had that dark spell. And it took her out and I found that out my first day at the new job. But like on the lighter, I'll end on the lighter note. This past week of the new job was fantastic, and I'm excited about the future of it. I think my mom is getting like the care she needs because like she's sounding better like every time I talk to her, and like we're finding some good facilities for her, and hopefully things will start to turn the corner and get better in these next coming weeks. So that's my life. Who's next?
Thanks for sharing, David. I'm so sorry to hear about your mom and Victoria. That hurt my soul, broke my heart.
It's been a lot. Like I've been dealing with a lot these last few weeks, and like there's been some times that have just been very overwhelming. And dude, I'm not even afraid to admit it. Like when I held it together for the rest of the workday, and then I came home I literally cried for like 2.5 hours straight. Like, yeah, it hit hard.
Yeah. So this is what I love about stuff like this, because it makes hearing you and what you just went through makes my problem seem so, not important. My week has been okay, I guess, to say the least. I had an experience yesterday night that it was like just not vibing right with me. Like, it was just sitting heavy on my heart. And honestly, like, I think the most accurate way to describe it is I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I haven't processed it yet. And I went to my first meeting, post whatever, like the state reopening. It was an experience, to say the least. I don't think I'm going to be rushing back. And I kind of now have developed this weird, like, when am I going to be ready to go back to a meeting? Because, like, I thought I romanticized all of this time. Like, I was like, I'm going to go to my first meeting. It's going to be so great. I'm going to see all the people that I love. I'm going to, like, hug everyone. It's going to be safe. It's going to be, like, whatever. And it was none of that. I actually spoke. That's the only reason I went. And I mean, I don't know, like, there was a lot of people there, and I did get to see some people that I, like, love and care about. I didn't get a chance to talk to them, though, because there was, like, a physical fight in front of the meeting. The freaking cops got called. Wow. It was the first time that's ever happened. And, like, I don't know, the whole time I just drove home, and, like, I was just in this weird spot. Like, I was, like, missing turns. I was, like, my anxiety was, like, really high. My heart was pounding, and I kind of felt like I had made a mistake almost. And I don't know, like, I just felt like for the first time that maybe I don't, not to say I don't belong in NA or like I'm better than anybody, because we may have just as messed up as the next person. I just felt, I felt uncomfortable, right? I think that it's the first time in a long time I felt uncomfortable in a meeting. And that freaked me out. And now I have this anxiety of, like, what is it going to be like post-COVID? Like, how is this going to look? How is this going to work? Are things ever going to get back to normal, quote unquote, like whatever that was? And I don't know. I guess I have a lot of fear and a lot of, like, confusion, and like, I guess maybe I need to take some time to process how I felt about it, and talk about it somewhere and look at it for what it is, and, like, accept the fact that, like, if I don't feel comfortable going to a meeting, I don't have to go, because I'm a very like being of service driven person, but, like, I can learn new ways to be of service. So yeah, like, I don't know. Let's learn that. Eric?
For the record, and I actually did some research on this, with proper PPE, like if both people have masks and have been sanitizing their hands properly and doing what they should be doing, hugs are not a high-risk thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a risk. It's a risk that, like, you shouldn't be willing to take, though. I mean, like,
yes,
you know,
I understand that. Like, but, like, I'm saying in small doses. Like, if you go out with a group, like on a weekend, you go over to a friend's house and there's 5 of you and you're all wearing masks and, like, you've washed your hands, all that good stuff. If you guys choose to hug, like, it's not, like, the worst thing you can do. That's all I've actually looked into it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't.
I just think, go ahead, Eric.
No, I wouldn't. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
I know you wouldn't.
I just think it's, like, crazy that, like, I now live in a world where a hug is potentially dangerous to my health and to somebody else's health. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't think I have accepted that, because, like, I come from a very touching, loving, hugging family. So, like, that is literally like a way of life. Like, I probably have hugged my parents, like, every day since I was, like, born, other than when I don't live there. But, like, I hug my husband. Like, the whole concept of, like, keeping people at a distance and, Yeah, I'm okay with the mask thing. Like, I'm okay with that. I don't know. It's just weird. It was so weird. Like, the whole thing was just, it was different, I guess. And maybe that's why it was weird. I don't know. And like, I didn't feel comfortable. I mean, if I'm really, truly being honest, I did not feel comfortable. I just felt like I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing the whole time. And usually if I listen to my gut, it leads me in the right direction. So I don't know. For what it's worth, I don't think I'm going to be running back to another meeting. I'm going to be more cautious of the ones that I go to, make sure that, they're outdoors or whatever. But I'm definitely going to have to learn how to say, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't think I've ever said that in my whole life. So this is giving me a new thing for me to learn.
Yeah.
All right. Where you at, Eric?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess
I really feel like we're going like the spectrum of like dark to light right now. And like Eric's at the light end of the spectrum, which is so weird for me.
I have two parts of it, right? I have a light and a dark, but we'll
okay. Start with the dark, and then let's go to the light.
Let's go. Okay, so the dark, which does have some light, I guess, hopefully, is my one cat. I have 3 cats, so my one cat has high calcium levels right now, and what that means is that.
Wait, what is it? Can you repeat that? I didn't hear it.
My one cat, my girl cat, Jeannie, she has high calcium levels right now. So what that could mean is that she has cancer. And we've done, we went to our original vet, we did blood tests, we redid blood tests. I have met with an oncologist, a vet oncologist today, and they did 5 more tests. So at this current moment in time, they don't know, if it's cancer or not. But she looks okay for the test. So it's always very stressful with animals. So like when, and I've had these guys, as one of them is about to be a dick, Elliot. Stop being an asshole, dude. But the, so, it's very stressful. And the doctor originally told me it was either like some type of cancer that had to do with hyperthyroidism because of the high calcium, or it was 2 types of lymphoma, and it was either a small cell or a large cell. So I didn't know there was like another option, but there is another option where it's like a benign condition. So like that's like hope, right? And it's like, all right, well, we've passed like the first round of tests, and now we're looking at something that it's either benign or she has cancer. So we have to do like another test next week where she's going to be getting a biopsy of her gastrointestinal tract as well as a bone marrow. They're going to take some of her bone marrow. So one of the things though, like, the good thing about this is that, she passed the first round of tests, right? She seems okay. Like, and the doctor even said, like, usually you would notice like something weird, and like besides like the fact that she's like a little underweight, which her weight fluctuates anyway. It's kind of like, but I actually saw my grandmother today, and by the way, we did not hug. We stayed far apart. But she lives near where the vet was, and my cat was literally at the vet all day doing tests. But we scheduled those biopsies and like gastrointestinal, like that stuff. And my grandmother even said, she was like, it's, a lot of older people are always like, well, you shouldn't like, pay that much for an animal. It's just an animal. And I'm like very much of the belief that if I'm bringing an animal into my home, they are my family. So like they're not an animal anymore. Like they are part of my family, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that if they can be saved, they will be saved. So yeah, like we're gonna do the procedure, and we're gonna see if like she's okay. And if at the end of this, I've spent like all this money just to make sure she's okay, like that's fine. Like I know she's fine. And I know that she doesn't have cancer. And like, yeah, like, could I use that money for something else? Sure. But who cares? Because I know that she's fine. So that's, the bad news, but good news, it's both, right? Like, we passed the first round of tests. Now, this coming Thursday, we'll have to find out, what happens next. But I'm moving into my house soon.
Nice.
Like, starting tomorrow.
What? Hell yeah.
I'm so stoked. I'm fucking so excited.
Yeah, man.
It's been a year. It's been over a year of this. Ready to get my own place again. It's my own, like, kitchen and my own bathroom and my own family room. I want my shit. Like, so that's the good news. And it's stressful, because moving sucks. Like, if anyone out there, like, I've moved 5 times in the past 2 years. It sucks. And like, I'm not moving apartments, I'm moving houses. So it's like a whole different, like, level of bullshit. You just have more shit. There's just so much more stuff. Like, there's more furniture, there's more, like, everything. And it's like, fuck. So hopefully this will be the last time. But yeah, guys. So good and bad news, right? But just to throw a topic out there, real quick, because I think it's like an interesting one. Is you kind of what you were talking about, Allie, with like the social distancing at meetings, right? And I'm like at my grandmother's house, right, where she's like 80, she's 83, and we didn't hug. She stayed 6 feet away. I stayed 6 feet away. Not many people can like come to our house. No one can go in her house. Like, we sat outside, and I guess, like, and I don't foresee this lasting forever, right? Like, this isn't gonna last forever. But what do you guys think recovery is gonna look like? After all this is done. Because I mean, like, my recovery is already shifted. Like, it's been shifting. Like, I don't have like that routine of like every Wednesday night I'm going to my home group. Like, that's kind of like it's not really what it is anymore for me. But like, for you guys who go to fellowship and you go to meetings, like what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, like, take like the Spanish flu, for example, right? Like, that lasted like what? 2 years was like the main timeline.
Yeah.
Like, let's say that happens here, right? So you got 2 years. So we're barely in this thing. What do you guys think recovery is gonna go from here?
I think there are safe ways to approach the physical meeting location. I think there needs to be like a thought, and that like it has the potential that some people are going to get turned away. But I mean, it's literally for safety. I think there needs to be a head count, like, for every meeting, and I think there's going to have to be a lot more communication being had. So I think people are really going to have to boost their understanding of that, because let's say are you still at the Saturday night, Allie?
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys have like 20 home group members. So maybe...
Yeah, bro, we have like 35. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, 35 home group members. Okay. So
not everyone shows up, but yeah.
But maybe you guys could coordinate and like, I think it would be healthy. Like, for round numbers' sake, let's say 30 people in a meeting. In that amount of space, you could keep distance pretty well. I don't think refreshments should be like, I don't think coffee or donuts or any of that stuff should be served, because that's just a collection point for a germ exchange. So I think it's like, hey, we're not going to have coffee. We're not going to have this. Masks are mandatory. Have a little hand sanitizing station right when they come in the door, and really just try and preach to people, like how we're going to go about this, and with that amount of home group members, do it on maybe a rotating basis. Like, hey, these 10 people are going to be there this week, and then the next 10 people can go there next week, and then the next 10 people can go there the week after that. That way, so you can have outsiders come to your home group, and your home group members still get their chance to be involved as well, while also like working as a team. Because like you said, like 50, 75 people all in like a church basement or something. Some of them are wearing a mask. Some of them aren't. Some of them are social distancing. Some of them aren't. Like it has to be strict. Like it really does. Like you can't go to we're strict about some things. Like you can't just come into an AA meeting and start banging dope in the middle of a fucking meeting. That's not the way it works.
You got to go to the bathroom.
No, you can't do that shit here, buddy.
That happens in the bathroom, David, not in the middle of the meeting. Okay. It's in the prologue.
Apparently.
It's in the prologue.
Apparently it does. Yes.
Wait,
But
Allie, can I ask a question real quick of Allie? Like, Allie, was there coffee being served?
Yeah. No. So that was, there was no coffee.
What about handouts?
There was only for... What was the question?
What about handouts? Like the readings?
I think that people did read the readings from what I could see. There was some hand sanitizer, like the guy that gave out P-tags did sanitize pre and post.
Okay.
But hugging was happening. The masks were not mandatory. But it was open. So everything was open. Like we were inside, but all of the doors were open, all the windows were open. And it was freezing in there. It was probably 50 degrees. It was freezing. They had the air on full blast. I don't know if that was just some thought of maybe this can't grow in the cold. I don't know. But it was very cold. I can tell you that. But also, I don't think anybody was at the door counting heads. I don't think anybody was turned away, per se. It was weird. It was definitely an experience.
But do you agree, Allie? There should be how many people can we have safely in this given space? And say that there's bigger meeting spaces and smaller meeting spaces. But
well, this isn't in the chapel, right? This is in the main room for Allie's meeting, right?
No, this was so the meeting that I was at, and what my home group has also mentioned is having it in the chapel, because the chapel is bigger. There's pews. The pews are longer. You can fit. I think the pews there were very long, so it was 4 to 3 people to a pew. But who's monitoring that? You know what I mean? Who's in charge of being no, there's 5 people in this pew, you got to move back. And who's monitoring the door? We've reached however many people you can't come in. Luckily, I will say half the meeting did, to stand after I was done speaking. And at first I was wow, I must have did a real shitty job. But then I thought, maybe they're just leaving because they came to get a message, and now they want to go. These are names, but and I didn't hear anybody coughing like crazy or sneezing like crazy. I can't say, this person looks febrile. I don't know. Nobody's checking temps or anything. But there was no coffee. The readings were there, but I think they were pre-handed out, and I think that they kept them. They weren't passed to the front. The basket was passed, which I found was interesting.
Passed?
The basket was definitely passed.
No.
Yeah. And I did not touch it. Yeah, it's just like, if anything, I think for some people it's going to be like just, oh, it's back to normal. But I think for other people, it's going to be like a really different transition, and that's okay. And I think that me and my naiveness, I was like, oh, it's just going to be like back to normal. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is like not normal, and this might not ever be normal again. Do you know what I mean? Like, we at my home group, oh my God, like we are supposed to fit, we can fit 102 or 107, some 105, some bizarre number in that meeting space that we meet at. You guys have seen that. It's not a big space.
It's not.
I mean, it's decent. It's a decent size, but 100 people, I mean, you are like crammed next to the person next to you. There's people standing.
That's the smallest meeting space.
It's hard to like control the... What?
That's the smallest meeting space in Catonsville. Not counting Bart's, right?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty small. I think it's pretty comparable to not Lost and Found. Is it Lost and Found? Yeah, but I think they're even bigger.
I think they're bigger too.
A wide rim. Yeah. And then like the ceiling height is not there. It's kind of tight. There's all this stuff. Like there's stage, so that takes up a pretty decent amount of space. So it's not the biggest.
Yeah. For that meeting, honestly, absolute tops, I think should, if you guys do open up physical meetings, 30 people tops.
Or change venues.
Yeah. But that puts us as recovering addicts, not even just like a home group, in such a weird position. Who do we get to say gets to come or not? Do you know what I mean? Like, I do not want to be the person standing at the door, the person who couldn't find the meeting, who really needed a meeting. It puts us in such a precarious spot to say, like, oh, we're at full capacity. Like, you can't come in tonight. Like, it seems like so anti-NA, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Unless you get here by a certain time. It seems like it goes so much against what NA is as a whole. And that's what
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I agree totally. But I think it's going to come down to a lot of, like, the individual decision-making. Like, does somebody with 20 years necessarily really need to go to a meeting? Like, yes, we're all, like, we can all have different scenarios and be sick and suffering and all that. I get that. But if, like, things are going okay for them, do they really need to be in that meeting? Maybe, like people are really going to have to...
well, but that might be
honest with themselves.
You can fall into a trap, though, with that. Because, just focusing on the newcomer, like, I know it's all for the newcomer, right? But, like, that's the reason why people relapse after 20 years, right? Like, or, maybe that's the meeting they needed that specific meeting so they wouldn't relapse, right? Like,
Yes. And I agree 100% like that. So that's why I'm saying it comes down to the individual. And, like, just to name drop a random person, like Jason, like like Jason shows up and it's like, oh, the meeting's really filling up. Maybe he takes it upon himself. He sees a new face and he's like, you know what? You go in the meeting. I'll hang outside and talk with David and Allie. And, like, maybe the three of us are like, okay, we're at the meeting, but maybe these people we see are like, we see that they're more in a dire need than us. So, like, yes, obviously anybody who's in, like, if their ass is on fire, by all means go into the meeting. But sometimes for people whose asses aren't on fire and they just like, oh, I just want a meeting on a Saturday night. It's like, okay, well, maybe, like, you got to take one for the team and, like, hang out in the parking lot and talk for the hour or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Yeah. Like, it brings up a good point, David. I do see the dynamics of meetings changing, like, post this because of this. Like, I see, people, like, it's going to be smaller meetings. If anything, I think people are going to have more stuff at their house because it's like, oh, I can have 10 people over at my house. And it kind of sounds messed up, but it's like, I can kind of control the 10 people, too, that come to my house. And I see people, like that old slogan, like, we got to get in the meeting early and stay late. Don't go outside to smoke. Like, that is going to be, like, totally gone. It's going to be like, dude, if you can't come to the meeting, like, come to the parking lot. like, come early, go in for a little bit if you have to, stay outside.
Exactly, and that's where I would be personally. Like, the next meeting I go to, I'm probably not going to go inside. I'm probably going to hang out in the parking lot and just talk with my friends and loved ones about, like, what's going on. Are you doing okay? Because that is still recovery. Just because you're in a meeting, yes, that's the quote unquote visualized recovery that everybody like wants and has. But, hanging out in the parking lot and talking about what's going on in your life with another recovering addict is still recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if I go to another meeting, it's going to be probably an outdoor meeting. But I might feel weird about that too, because like some random person walking their dog might be like just strolling right all through the meeting, and like I appreciate my anonymity to some level, So
yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know. Like this is just like totally uncharted territory and new stuff for. The whole fellowship, every kind of fellowship out there.
Yeah.
This is a whole new world.
I like what you said about like the smaller groups. It could make recovery a lot more intimate, and like maybe only invite a handful of people over that you really trust, and then you can get a little bit deeper into what's going on with each other and develop those really strong, close bonds with small amounts of people. And don't make it cliquey and like invite other people every time, but also you can take this opportunity to really build the strength of that inner core, that nucleus of your recovery for the future. So I think that's a positive.
I thought you were about to do a plug for podcast recovery right there, David.
No. Yeah, do you want me to?
No, just the way you were describing that.
That would be a good segue.
The way you were describing
I really feel the nucleus of podcast recovery, the way the mitosis happened and we split from 2 into 4 with these 2 amazing women that we've brought into our core network is just splendid, and it's gone so swimmingly, and I'm very happy to have Carly and Allie on board.
Oh, I can't speak for Carly, but I am happy to be here.
Yes.
Honestly,
it's been awesome.
This could not have happened at a better time for me. You guys asked me in the middle of a fucking pandemic when I cannot get to a meeting, and like I feel like even though I'm not like seeing you guys physically, like the fact that I can like not be seen and sit in a comfortable space in my house and talk about like what's really going on is like. It's good, man. It's really helped me tremendously, and I'm grateful that you guys asked me to be a part of.
And we had that dope ass guy from Canada earlier. He was fantastic.
He was so good, and like Eric, that Smart Recovery Workbook. I don't know if you got it, but I would like to check it out. I'm like very interested in how other aspects of recovery and addiction, and I know that. Even though like I'm a member of NA, like I can still open my mind to and like look at other literature that's out there.
Yeah, Smart's great. Smart.
I'd love to find out.
It's like
another tool in the tool bag, babe.
It's such a cool program. I don't know. It's the first time working Smart Recovery is the first time I've had like an aha moment about my recovery in a long time. So that was kind of cool. I think I'll have a few when I go through guiding principles. That's
and
like
actually hearing you say that, Eric, holds a lot of weight with me because like I know how you are. You are with recovery. You can be critical,
very critical.
I would say critical,
and
critical and cynical.
And the fact that you genuinely volunteer that like this has given me an aha moment. I'm like, wow. That's a big deal.
Multiple aha moments. It's just it's a different way of looking at it, right? Like, and that's the whole thing is and even with the book I'm reading right now, where it's just another way to look at it. Like And I think that's, I don't know. I think sometimes we get bogged down too much in just like, this is the way it is, and it's always been this way, and like, take the cotton out of your ears and shove them in your mouth and work the steps of die. Like, cool, man. Like, I don't know. That like the 80s were a while ago, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be informed. I don't want to, like, I don't do blind faith too well. So,
No, you're right.
Yeah. No, I like had a kind of a similar experience. Like, like some of the things of NA helped me a lot, but like all that, like the fact that I was on methadone, every time I tried to talk to people about it, they were like, I can't fucking help you with that. Whereas, like, if I would have been new and this would have been a resource, I could have, used it. And more and more people are going to come into the rooms on maintenance because that's the new norm. That's what is happening in treatment centers. And I think we as a fellowship either are going to have to address it and learn how to, like, whatever, go about it. Like, and any AA, whatever fellowship, they need to, like, get with it and learn how to address it. Because if not, like, you can kill people. Many people have already died.
It's like meeting people at their, like, where they are. Like, I still think it's fucking crazy. And, like, we're all grateful that we were able to, like, make it, right? But, like, we all know a ton of people who didn't. And, a lot of that is, we're not meeting them where they need to be. And a lot of that's, like, the maintenance thing, right? Or, like, I have a friend I know who, he grew up super Christian. He used to give me tons of shit about being, like, brought up, like, atheist and, like, agnostic and stuff. And it's funny because now he can't get past the God part of the fellowships. And I'm like, dude, it's just a fucking word. You know what I mean? But, like, he's still, doing his thing and is unwilling because, like, he can't get past it. And it's like, well, why can't us as a group, whatever that group may be, like, something meet him where he's willing to be, like, and like, I don't know. I just don't think it's worth, like, people, like, suffering and dying over, like, our pride and our ego of, like, this is the way it has to be. Like, it's like, fuck that. Like, I don't care enough about my pride and my ego about this certain way that, like, these people need to die because of, like, that. Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yes. I would rather
get with our program.
Yes. I would rather break every single fucking tradition to save somebody every fucking week.
Yeah. Exactly.
If it was am I gonna break a tradition by doing this? Am I gonna go against the steps of doing this versus life?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, David, but I'm looking in the handbook here, and it seems like you've broken tradition 9, and we're gonna need to roll this back, and maybe you want to take this up with Area.
Yeah. Nope. I'm saving that person's life every day of the week, 24/7, 365. I think that's something that needs to be more at the core of who we are as people and recovering addicts. Is that I think we need to value the life a little bit more in the day and age we're living at now. And I think
if they're going to come back.
I think.
What was that, Allie?
Me breaking up?
No, that's David. What were you going to say, Allie?
Okay. I said, and I think we're going to come out of this whole pandemic experience with people needing a lot more understanding and meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
Than ever before.
I hope so, at least.
Yeah. Love it. Any final thoughts? Words?
No, I think that's it,
love
David.
You guys.
I love you too, Allie, and David.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
Growth, y'all.
It's sounding more every time you say it. It's really touching. I appreciate it.
Look, does it feel good? Is there, even if it's not heartfelt, is it still just like fuck it, I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it.
That one was a little bit more instinctive.
Okay, it's a little more natural.
A little more natural,
okay. All right. I'm not going to I'm going to appreciate it and love it for
what
it is. I love you too. I love you, Allie.
I love you too, David.
And
I love you all.
All of our listeners out there, we love you too. We genuinely care about you and your well-being, and hope everybody's staying safe, staying clean, all those good things. Check us out on all of our social media platforms. If you feel like helping to fund podcast and keep us going, go to Venmo, PayPal. Most importantly, absolutely everybody, take care of yourselves, stay safe and stay clean.